So, hello everyone. Today it's my honor to introduce you all to Mr. Arvind, who have recently cleared his RBI and now he is selected RBI Grade B officer. So, welcome Arvind. It's great pleasure to interview here today. I welcome you to this platform of EduTap.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, Arvind, just let's start very slowly. Since we know you are selected today, but tell me your reaction. How did you feel on the day of result? What was the first thing that came into mind? Okay, I should do this first, and what did you actually do?
Ma'am, it was a great relief, first of all, to know that I have cleared this exam because the amount of work that I have put in to clear this exam was humongous. Especially this year was pretty difficult for me. So after clearing the exam, actually, my family and me, everyone felt very relieved. That was the primary reaction.
Okay, so at that time you were at home or you were somewhere else?
No, ma'am, I'm with my friends. So we were already celebrating for some other thing. So I got to know about the result and it was very happy moment.
So celebration just got bigger on that day.
Yes.
Okay, that is great. So by that time, did your friend start calling you RBI officer or it was Arvind officer? What was the name calling actually?
Name calling was not there, but we celebrated a lot that day.
Yes, yes. That is great. That is great. So let's begin with your educational background. So let all of us know how did you and where did you grow up and where did you go college to?
Okay, ma'am. I'm from Kandakur, ma'am. It was a small town in the coastal Andhra Pradesh. So I did my schooling from there itself. And after that, I prepared for IIT JEE examination and I was able to clear it. So my graduation was from IIT ISM Dhanbad. So I graduated in 2016. So then there I decided that I should appear for civil services examination. So that's how my journey was started. Um,
All right. So since you're from IIT, you must have like set in the campus placement and you must have gotten it, right? So did you join any job afterwards? How it was?
so ma'am, in the college, I decided that I should appear for civil services examination. So I did take a job because I had some financial obligations back then. So I took up a job in an edtech sector and I
Mhm.
worked there for 4 years. So once I was also trying to appear, I was also trying to study for civil services as well, but that was not happening. And um, I took a break actually for 2 years. I didn't study for civil services back during that period also. So after 4 years, I quit the job. Then I started preparing for civil services as well as other exams also.
All right. So since you were working at that time, and I do know you must have a decent salary package too. So usually what happens, we like everybody plans कि one day I'll quit the job because everybody knows some people are fresher, some people have took off from their job and they're working full time. So everybody thinks like that कि okay, I should give up job and I should 100% of the time I should prepare for the examination. But it is difficult. So what was that one thing that inspired you? Okay, Arvind, go for the preparation, leave out the job. So what was that one deciding factor for you?
Ma'am, I did take up the job, but ma'am, after 4 years into that, I felt a very kind of missing out on lot of things. So my goal, my aim always was to appear for civil services or other kind of service jobs. So I was not able to achieve it because the competition, you know how much competitive these exams are. So I was not able to put my 100% into it and my family supported me. So I decided that I should give 2 years to this preparation. And if I'm not able to clear any of the exams, then I should go back to corporate. So that was my thinking back then. So I did take it was a difficult decisions because you were earning and quitting all of it and up only sitting for study is very difficult thing back then. So that's how I decided that I should leave the job and prepare for full time.
Right, right. So, but if I talk about UPSC, it's one of the toughest, I would say, toughest exam in India, right, to crack. Then, if usually if I talk about the people when they like avert from the UPSC, they go for some easier examination. You go from one toughest examination to like less tougher but still very tougher examination like RBI grade B. So what was that mindset to know if not not UPSC, RBI will be my second choice?
Ma'am, when I quit my job, it was clear that I should appear for civil services along with I also appear for RBI also because ma'am, by that time I had realized that whatever we can do in civil services or in the on the field, we can also establish it through the RBI also. Because through civil services preparation, I got to know more about Reserve Bank of India, especially after demonetization or the introduction of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, and the kind of platforms that RBI developed through through NPCI, etc., like UPI, and the kind of transformation this on the ground level. All those things inspired me. And if you look at the syllabus also, so both examinations have similar syllabus. RBI even has more to that extent, like management studies and etc. But it was always on my mind, and I have been applying for both these exams since past 3 years.
Hmm.
But I never got the chance to appear for RBI. So I was applying, but not able to appear for RBI. But this year, I was fortunate to clear the exam in my first
Or
attempt itself.
so you had limited time. I think after like UPSC result, then only you go for RBI, right?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, this year I appeared for civil services interview, and the results were announced on 23rd of May, and I was not able to clear the exam. So I
Oh.
was very devastated. And then my friend told me that the last date of application was still there, so I applied for it. Then I looked at the syllabus. It was very similar, and I almost got exposure to around 80% of the syllabus.
Mhm.
So I had to cover only 20% of it, like management studies, or I had to practice some phase one, some areas of phase one, like reasoning and quant. So for those areas, I made a detailed plan and I followed it.
Okay, so how did your preparation for UPSC? Like you appeared in the interview, so you have achieved a lot. Already, I would like to say it's not easy feat to, crack even the prelims of UPSC, but you got till the interview. So, how did the preparation that you did in the UPSC act as a lesson for your RBI preparation? So, what are the
Uh,
lesson you can like share with the candidates watching this interview that okay, this lesson you should take from my journey and this you should do?
Ma'am, actually in UPSC, we usually experience a lot of setbacks at every stage of the examination. So, ma'am, I didn't want to make the same mistakes in RBI, and I tried to learn from others' mistakes. For example, in phase one, many people focus on the final cutoff, but that should not be the main focus because clearing sectional cutoffs in RBI is extremely difficult. I find it I find it very late that like I while solving test series, I came to know that clearing sectional cutoff is extremely difficult. So my focus was on that initially.
Mhm.
So apart from that, um, do not neglect any particular area, like either phase one or phase two, because I know because those who prepare for civil services, they are good at descriptive writing part. But here it is entirely different because it is not a pen and paper examination. You have to type in the examination, so you have to practice on that as also. Because if you have all the information and you can't type it within that time frame, then it is of no use. And even if you skip one question, that is going to cost you a lot. So keeping all those things in mind and not repeating such kind of mistakes, like those things I have learned from the civil services and also mistakes of the other people also. So that's how my
Okay, so as I can like summarize from your point, first we'll have to focus on the sectional cutoff. And second, if you are from UPSC background and you have good practice in descriptive writing, we should not overestimate ourselves. We
yes, ma'am.
should think ourselves कि we are in the competition. Everybody is good. Everybody is at our level, and we'll have to ace it using different tools, right? And the
Yes, ma'am.
third thing I can learn is always learn from others' mistake rather than
Yes,
making it yourself. All right,
yes,
that
ma'am.
is great. So you said about the mock test that you have given, right? Where you come to know, okay, sectional cutoff getting sectional cutoff it is not easy at all. So just tell me how important actually the full length mock test in the preparation journey for RBI.
Well, for phase one, I think it is extremely important because there was limited time, 25 minutes to study, to read the entire 80 questions of a CA section, and also similarly 45 minutes to this reasoning section. So, practicing a lot before phase one is extremely necessary. Otherwise, you will, because it will create ultimately, if you practice a lot, then it will create an intuition in the examination also, like how much time you should put here and how much time you should allot to that. So that kind of planning is necessary. So those things you will learn from mock test. Apart from that, whatever the areas that you are weak, you should be able to identify them through mock test, and you can work upon them whatever the little time you have. Because without writing mock test, I think phase one will be difficult.
All right. So full length mock test can help us in two way. First is to get how much actual time we are taking. So it help us with the time management. Also, it help us to note down what mistakes we are making while we are doing the
Yes, ma'am.
questions, which I think two are most extreme important step. And we also usually say you should always take full length mock test and identify your mistakes also. So when we are talking about your whole journey, there are always some ups and some downs in our journey, right? Everybody struggles with something. So I like to know a little about your struggle that you have come up while you're preparing for RBI.
Ma'am, during actually these whole I my preparation started on 23rd of May, and obviously the phase two examination was on July 29th. So it was around 2 months and 2.5 months time. So even during that time, because there were several things in happening in my personal life as well. So irrespective of those things, we should focus on we should be on our trajectory. There were two deaths happened in my family during that time, but somehow we have to work because there is no other option left. The people who are sitting besides you, they were preparing for years, if not months. So if you want to compete with them, you have to put all your efforts, irrespective of the things that are happening in your personal or professional life. So keep yourself dedicated towards your preparation. So don't take it easy because lakhs of people are appearing for this exam, and there is you can see the competition, like 222 seats are there. So this year, so don't neglect your preparation, especially during whatever limited time you have.
I think that is going to be a great lesson for people who are struggling with various things. Like you come up with those obstacles, you come winner, like facing those obstacles. I think this is going to be a great lesson, and I think you have said it very beautifully. Your personal obstacle does not affect the preparations of others. So, irrespective of everything that is going on, you should always keep in mind other people are preparing. There are limited seat, there is limited time, and you are only the maker of your own destiny. So you will
Yes.
have to work hard on this. Very good, very well said. So the we have talk about the downs. Let's talk about the ups. So what is the most enjoyable thing that you faced or that you come across while you're preparing for your RBI Grade B examination?
Ma'am, actually, I like solving these puzzles, like reasoning, such kind of things, but I was not able to. I mean, back then when we were in college, we used to solve a lot of them for various other, for placements or etc. But I never get the chance to again appear for any of other such kind of exams. So this time I enjoying those things. Whenever I get bored, I just take up a puzzle and I used to solve it. So
I think that is great ki if I talk about the enjoyable thing, you also come up with ki, okay, puzzle I should do. I should also do some other questions. That is great. I think most of the people who are preparing for UPSC miss out that part because there
yes,
are a lot of subjects that you'll have to cover and they are mostly theoretical. So they
yes,
are always engraved in the theory and they lost that fun of solving the questions and solving the puzzles. So if or any of you is preparing, have prepared for the UPSC and planning to prepare for RBI, RBI is a great opportunity. Not only like it's a good job, but it's also for personal growth. Also, there are certain part of this journey you are going to enjoy. A journey is not only about the downs. There will be ups, just like Arvind had told us. So, Arvind, if I talk about ups and downs and journey, so what is that one mistake? that you will set, especially the candidate who are coming from the UPSC background. Ki, if you are coming from the UPSC background and you are starting to prepare for RBI, do not make this one mistake. I had made it. I wish I could go in the past and change this thing. So, what is that one lesson you would like to share?
Ma'am, the thing I told about the descriptive writing part, meticulous planning is required in this section also, because we are usually have overconfidence regarding because we write so many questions in our mains examination that it was easy for us to comprehend whatever the question was. And but it is entirely different here, because you will get around 27 minutes to write a 15 marker, but in civil services we get only 11 minutes. But that doesn't mean that it is easy here, because even you got 27 minutes, but the typing part is extremely difficult, because I don't know why, but the RBI interface was very, it was not user friendly at all in the examination. And the kind of keyboards that they provide, they will give you headaches in the, they were like some students while writing the exam, they were banging their keyboards to the desk. So that was the kind of situation there. So be prepared for those things and practice a lot, especially with the mechanical keyboards before going to the examination. So that was one thing. And the other thing is, uh, don't be overconfident about the GA section also, because we usually study a lot of current affairs during our preparation, but here it is entirely difficult. And year on year, RBI is also giving very difficult current affairs. For example, this year the paper was so lengthy, I was not able to even read 13 questions out of those 80. So that was, please don't ever do that mistake, because we cannot obviously answer all the questions, but you have to glance through at least all the questions once.
Hmm.
You have to see those 80 questions before the time is over, because otherwise you will miss on very easy questions. This time it was very lengthy. Even to read one question is taking around 1 to 2 minutes. Forget about answering it. So if you face such kind of situations, just skip the questions. So move forward. Not like you are thinking and you are eliminating options. Don't do that in here, because you only got 25 minutes and you have to answer 80 questions. So those two things you should not make any mistakes.
I think that's a great part you focused on. So, those of you who are preparing for UPSC, first, don't get overconfident again with your descriptive writing. Here, you don't have to write, you will have to type. Focus on and practice on the mechanical keyboard. Okay. And the second lesson that we got is related to the general awareness. Again, don't think I have covered enough current affair for RBI grade B since I was preparing for UPSC. RBI is increasing the level, as Arvind has said, and he himself was not able to go through all the questions. Same thing can happen with anybody. So again, he have very carefully said you should take lesson from here and you should not make these mistakes while you're preparing for your examination. So very well said, Arvind. So while you transition to your preparation phase again towards the RBI, so just let me know very quickly, how did your typical day look like, so that candidate also can set a goal. Okay, I'm also preparing for RBI Grade B, and Arvind sir will tell me how his day was so that I can copy it.
So, ma'am, as I said, there was only around 45 days left for phase one when I started my preparation. So I had to cover a lot. For example, management studies. I have never read in my entire life like about managements or etc. So initially I thought, okay, I will just download the summary PDFs from EduTap and I will just read them, and it will be okay for me. But once I read that I have downloaded one and read that PDF, but it was extremely difficult to comprehend. And I realized that it will take months for me to understand on my own. So
Hmm.
what I did was I usually kept 10 to 12 hour schedule per day. In those 45, first I made a schedule for 10 days. So that 35 days will be left for me to prepare for phase one. So in those 10 days, my schedule was to wake up, go to gym and come back and sit for my so I watched these management videos of EduTap in 2x speed. So I
Hmm.
used to watch them in that speed, and I also immediately after completing that video, I usually refer to the concept notes. So say I simply glance through them. So that's how I completed all those the entire course. I think around in 8 to 9 days, around 80% of the syllabus was completed. Then I got the confidence that okay, I'm okay. I covered the management part also. So now I'm able to compete with the rest of the batch. So my typical day, like I usually spent around 10 to 12 hours a day. So in the morning around 9:30 I will begin. So my first session will be completed by around 12:30 to 1, and my second session would start at 3 or 3:30, and it will be over by 7 or 7:30. And before going to sleep, I also watch some speeches, especially the governor speeches, if there are any, because if they are extremely important. Ma'am, I would like to emphasize on this aspect because many aspirants neglect these things. RBI has a YouTube channel. Just go to it and subscribe to it. It publishes our Reserve Bank of India's governors or deputy governor speeches every week. Like, watch those speeches, especially before the examination, like 3 months before. You should watch all those speeches because you can directly um, derive what the RBI thinking and what the areas of focus of RBI this year. Because I did that, and surprisingly, in phase one, I got two questions out of those speeches, like Mani Kumar or Mani Kumari, some question was there. So that was directly picked up from the governor's speech. And also, even in the phase two, also, it helped him a lot because governor was focusing on climate change wherever he goes, even in the G20 platforms or whatever institutions he has gone to. He was always emphasizing on climate change or transition, financing the transition, etc. So I prepared with those topics. So focus on that as well.
Right, right. So as Arvind have told how his typical day look like. So he wake up early, he go to gym, and that's a great lesson to take from here. Nobody like when people think, okay, I'll prepare for RBI, especially when they're preparing late. So they think like 12 hours, 20 hours, or 24 hours, I'll have to engraved in books or notes. That is not the case. Take lesson from here. He used to go to gym, which is very important that you have a good physical and mental health, right? Then he used to like whole day give time to his preparation. Then lastly, he also was active. Like he was aware about the sources that RBI have provided, and he used to listen to the speeches, which turn out to be very fruitful in his journey. So here's another lesson that we can take from his book and make that ours. So please, whenever you're preparing for this particular examination, be active on the social media in terms of related to the things that RBI is doing. So just subscribe to the channel that as he have said. So Arvind, when we are talking about your journey, so there is always a starting point, right, from where we begin, and there is somebody who shed light on us. You have told your friend was the one who told you, okay, okay, there are days left, the applications are not closed. So I like to know who was the unsung hero of your journey to RBI, who have guided you throughout and who just started to just give me a name of your friend, and I like to know more about that.
Actually, ma'am, I was very disappointed with my results in civil services. So immediately he called me. His name is Akil. He's also preparing for RPA. Unfortunately, he is not able to clear this time. But he called me and told me that the application was still there, the time for application. So I applied, and we used to discuss a lot before phase one as well as phase two. We shared our notes, and he explained me through difficult whatever the different concepts that RBA that this examination had. And also we used to share our notes, and we prepared an entire list of quotes that we are going to use, whatever may be the topic that may came. We are going to create a context, and we are going to put those quotes in it because since ultimately it is a competition. If you mention data codes and other kinds of things, then it will give a good impression to the evaluator as well. So we prepared all those things, and we are able to clear phase one and phase two also. Unfortunately, he was missed out this time by at least around 1 mark. I hope he will clear next time.
I hope so
So,
too. So, uh, your unsung hero sounds amazing. You know, not only he just told you about the examination, because usually what people think, if we tell others, they will be our competition, which I think is not a healthy mentality, right? You prepared with your friend, and it ultimately help you to crack this examination. So, how important would you say is our group studies, or I would say a discussion, or to have a company, who can, not only motivate you but also help you prepare better for the examination?
no, it is extremely important, especially at the interview stage. This year also, we discussed a lot. Like we formed a group, like me, Akil, and there is another person also. Like she also cleared this time, Triveni. So we used to discuss a lot on every day, like 1 hour or 2 hours, whatever the core areas that the RBI was focusing on, or the transcripts that are coming out from the candidates who have already completed their video interviews. So we discussed a lot. That helped us to bridge the gap between our conceptual misunderstandings, etc., and also helped us to reduce our anxiety, because it is very anxious atmosphere, because when the interview date is uh, nearing, then we all get anxiety, and
Mhm.
that kind of we feeling comes up, like we have not prepared well or some. So those things we can fight when we discuss in a group. So do must, especially for the interview part.
Right.
For
So,
phase one and phase two, more practice is required.
hmm. So for phase one, phase two, we'll have to focus on practice, and for interview, like help of others, talking with our friends who are preparing for the same examination, who have cleared the phase two, is going to be extremely important, right? So that I can learn. So when we are talking about phase one, you have told me you had limited time. Just
Yes, ma'am.
after the seeing your result for the UPSC, you start preparing, right? So in this limited time, it is very crucial that you have like definite sources also, and you cover those sources well. So how did you manage that? What were your sources? How did you come to cover for those sources?
So, ma'am, if we look at the section wise, for example, current affairs. So, my primary source was EduTap resources that are available, ma'am. So, for current affairs, I downloaded the PDFs provided, like schemes PDF and reports PDF. I relied upon them. I studied around 3 months current affairs from those PDFs. And also, once those PDFs are completed, I used to watch your YouTube videos where you run some marathon sessions on the entire schemes or entire reports. And I used to participate in those marathon sessions, but I used to watch them in 2x speed, so that my time would be saved. And apart from that, I also continuously followed RBI website, and there was some personal notes during my civils interview. So I studied that notes as well, and budget and economic survey short notes. So I relied on all these things. And when the exam is nearer, I I shifted my focus entirely on those marathon sessions, so that I could easily recollect things in the final exam. So those things helped me a lot. And RBI notifications, and ma'am Kritika ma'am uploads those videos regularly. So I also used to, instead of reading the entire RBI notification, I used to watch those videos, then go to the notification, and I just glance through them. So that's how my current affairs preparation was. When it comes to the reasoning and quantitative aptitude, so, ma'am, what I did was, initially I took up a test series in phase one. So I used to solve them. I solved around 3 to 4 tests initially without any preparation or without any looking at it. So then I realized that I have forgotten many things. Like, I don't even remember the squares and cubes of numbers, and I even forgot tables. So I for one day I entirely revised all those formulas, all those things. And then I identified some weak areas, like reasoning. I was not able to solve them very quickly. Those puzzles are I'm taking around 12 to 30 minutes to solve a single puzzle. That is not going to help me in the final exam. So whatever areas I listed down, all the areas that I was lacking. And EduTap has live solving sessions. So in those sessions, I think Vishnu Dutt sir was there. So he was solving on each and every topic. He usually starts with explaining the concept and go from easier to the difficult level. So I selectively watched his videos, and whatever the areas that I was lacking, I only watched those videos in 2x speed. So there also I observed the way he is solving instead of the final answer. I understand that this is the pattern through which we need to study that puzzle, and we need to write down the short notes before even entering into the solving phase. So I learned that from that videos, and I implemented effectively in the final exam as well. And English section, I was okay with it, because I have been reading newspapers since many years. So I never worried about that section. I always attempt all the 30 questions, and this time also I attempted all of them. So that's how my phase one preparation was.
All right. So to summarize, for current affair, you take help of the magazines that we have for
Yes,
Schemes
ma'am.
tab, Reports tab, right? Then you also refer to the Kritika ma'am's series that is going on related to the finance current affair, rather than going for whole RBI
Mm,
notification. Then you also took part in the marathon sessions that we have. right? So that
A-
helped you a lot, I think.
All of them in 2x speed, ma'am, because
All
I
right.
was not
So
having.
yeah, yeah. So everything you watched was in 2x speed. Beat the video of Vishnu Dutt sir, or beat the video of Kritika ma'am, or beat the marathon, right? That is great. Then for your quant and reasoning part, you first note down, you take the help of the test series, and you first note down what are your weak areas and where you need to work upon. Then you watch the live videos of Vishnu Dutt sir, how he is solving, rather than just going for the result. You focused on more methodology,
Yes, ma'am.
how it is solving, how he is reducing the time, and you make it your own.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is great. I think for phase one, you have prepared well and you were able to clear it. So you have told me about the test series. So my only question is, how important do you feel it is to give the mocks? Because some people, what they do, especially for quant reasoning English, when they come from the UPSC background, they think, okay, in CSET we also have to do some math, some quant, some reasoning, so why practice again? Let's just jump into the MCQ solving part. So do you think it's a mistake or it's a good strategy?
Ma'am, for this exam, I think it is a mistake because, ma'am, phase one, it is becoming increasingly unpredictable and difficult. Even if you look at this year also, the each and every question is so lengthy. So other if you are not prepared for that, it will be. I mean, you will not be able to clear the cutoff because this year only 54 was the cutoff. Like around 54 was the cutoff. Uh, so that explains the kind of difficulty that the RBI is looking. I mean, RBI is setting its papers. So you need to practice a lot, especially for phase one. I don't think phase two you need to have a specific test series. You can always practice on keyboard, etc. But phase one, it is extremely important.
Right. So phase one may we'll have to do the mock test. That is
Yes,
important. Okay, so that's good, really good. Now let's come to the phase two. But before that, once you are done with phase one, were you confident? Okay, I'll be able to clear the phase one surely. So let me practice, or let me start practicing for phase two. So was it your strategy, or were you like, okay, I don't know. So let me just see the result first, and then I'll start preparing for phase two. So what was your strategy and mindset? Then we'll come to how you prepare. Okay.
I came back home from the phase one, man. Usually many YouTube channels usually run those solving sessions, something like that. So I watched those videos, and it was clear to me that I'm going to clear this examination because many of my current affairs section I it was current affairs or quant. In quant, I have already solved a DA. I was confident about that, and also in the reasoning section also I have solved two puzzles, and my English was okay, and current affairs also many of them were correct. So I was confident that I'm going to clear phase one. So I immediately started my phase two preparation from the next day itself because there were hardly 20 days left to phase two.
Right. So you didn't wait. You start giving
No,
your
ma'am.
100% from next day. That is great. But when we are talking about even phase one, many students are confused. Like, should they put more effort toward the GA part? Should they put more effort toward the quant or reasoning part? I mean, how did they segregate? Okay, this is the part that I'll have to clear the sectional cutoff, and these are the actual parts that will help me clear the merit.
Ma'am, for quant reasoning, I think one should focus on clearing the sectional cutoffs because we see people who have scored around 80 marks are failing in securing sectional cutoff of 5 to 6 marks. So for those two sections especially, you need to focus on clearing the sectional cutoff first. For GA part, you need to prepare extensively. You need to have the guts to take risks in that because if you can eliminate two options, I think you should take a chance. Otherwise, because there are so many questions and the difficulty level is so high, you have to take risks there. But educated is not blindly just putting the answers. If you can eliminate 2 to 3 options, then you must answer those sections. As far as section cutoff is concerned, quant and reasoning part you should focus on.
Right. And what about English?
English was okay, ma'am, actually. For
Right.
me at least, okay, so that's why I didn't.
So I think if you're confident in English, then you can use the
Yeah.
English to jump higher to
Yes,
clear
ma'am.
the merit. Okay, okay,
Yes.
that is great. That is great. Now, when we are talking about the phase two, so there we have three papers. So we have descriptive English, we have ESI, and we have FM. So let's talk one by one. When we are talking about descriptive English, the topic and the essay I think are not very challenging for somebody from UPSC background. They have like if we are talking about climate change, we are talking about women empowerment. Matlab, somebody coming from the UPSC background, they have even many points they already have written. Like if nobody asks them, they can give a speech on that. But
Yes,
the
ma'am.
challenge is the other part. When we are talking about typing, especially, and typing in a limited manner. When we are talking about the Pressy, when we are talking about the letter or reading comprehension. So, how did you manage to prepare for those parts?
So, ma'am, the content was not a problem for those who are coming from the civil services background. So that was not an issue. But i- this time I have actually jotted down some topics and I prepared notes for it. For example, the report on currency and finance. I think the theme of that report itself is towards cleaner and greener India. So whatever RBI governor goes, he is emphasizing on climate change. So we're pretty sure that this aspect is going to come in the examination. Either it can be in ESI or it can be in essay. So we prepared extensively further. Like for climate change, we have collected quotes from Mahatma Gandhi and some Barack Obama. So we have collected quotes, we have collected data, we have collected so everything. So we are prepared with that topic. So content is not going to be a problem. But ma'am, here you need to know the rules. Like for example, Pressy, you have to put a heading and you have to write in your own words. You have to write the entire thing in a single paragraph. You have to maintain the word limit. So all those things um, I have learned from the channel, YouTube channel, and your EduTap resources also. So those things, first focus upon those things, then appear. If you practice, that will be all. That would also be fine. Take a keyboard and type it the entire essay because it is very exhausting. Writing on a paper is extremely easy when compared to typing it on the interface, and which is not user friendly. So I in those 20 days I used to practice a lot at my home. Typing practice was one of my key to the clearing phase two examination.
Right. So, this is
And
about
one more thing about is that comprehension. This time it was very difficult. So while reading the comprehension, be mindful. So take a pause of 30 seconds and be mindful while reading the entire comprehension because once you see the questions, you will forget what the content that was given in the comprehension. So be mindful while reading the comprehension. If possible, read it twice, then go and answer the questions. So
right. So for descriptive English, if I can summarize, the content is not going to be a problem if somebody is coming from UPSC background. But yes, the typing can be a challenge. So they will have to mindfully think, okay, I need to practice on the keyboard. Then if we talk about the Pressy and reading comprehension, so for that you also have told, we'll have to be technical, we'll have to know what are the technicalities, where to write
yes, ma'am.
title or not, these kind of thing we'll have to notice. And for reading comprehension, if possible, we should try to at least read it mindfully twice, so that we can answer the question, since the difficulty level is increasing. So if
Yes, ma'am.
somebody is not from UPSC background, so for them, content can be a problem. So what will
Yes, ma'am.
your suggestion can be? Okay, you do this to overcome with this content problem.
First, identify the topics, ma'am. Look at the past 2, 3 years question papers and what kind of areas that RBI is asking questions from. Most uh, uh, most reasonable prediction is that look at the reports that RBI is releasing. You will get short one essay from those topics. This year, the emphasis was completely on climate change. So wherever governor or deputy governor is going, they are emphasizing on that aspect. So it was a sure shot. So that's how you need to look at the topics, like look at the RBI website or what the governors and deputy governors are doing. From them, from those things, you identify the topics and prepare for it. So prepare for around 10 to 15 topics if possible. You will definitely get one out of them.
Right, that's great advice. So next we'll talk about the FM part. Since FM you told me about management was totally new, you will have to struggle with the management concept and you focused on it. So just let me know, where did you come, how did you cover the management, and what were your sources for that? And then also share your strategy. How did you manage to prepare? Did you cover 100% of the syllabus or something was missing?
No, ma'am. I completely referred the management topics from the EduTap videos. But even I gave 10 days to this exclusively for management studies, but I was not able to complete it. If I get time, I should have. I mean, if I had to write the exam another time, then I should have focused more on that part also, because it was very static and the questions are very direct. You can score a lot in FM paper compared to ESI, because ESI is very unpredictable and the questions are lengthy, and it is becoming it is becoming difficult year on year. So focusing on FM, so those who are preparing now, they should definitely focus on management, because this year also there were paragraph questions about motivation and communication. They are direct questions. You don't even require 30 minutes to answer those 30 questions. So my sources for management was EduTap videos, their concept notes, and uh, students told me, some other those who are preparing along with me told me that you should refer to mind maps, but I didn't get the time to refer to them, because they said that they help revising things quickly, but I didn't get the time. I suggest you should go through them.
Yes, that is great. How about the finance? How did you manage?
Ma'am, basics of finance I was already familiar with because of my civil services preparation, but there were some topics. For example, accounting standards, some accounting thing, and primary and secondary markets. For those concepts, I again refer to the videos. I watched them in 2xp. I had a basic understanding of all those things. Apart from that, I have also prepared notes from budget and economic survey. I was familiar with the banking and its terminology and all those things. So that was it.
Okay, so for finance, you did selective preparation,
Yes, ma'am.
the topic that were new to you, you referred to our videos. And for management, since it was new to you, you referred to the videos only. And
Yes,
you
ma'am.
also suggested that if a candidate have a time, he should refer to mind map also for quick revision.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
is great. That is great. Now, lastly, we'll talk about the ESI. So,
Yes.
what were your sources for ESI and how did you manage to cover? Was ESI the subject where you were able to clear the 100% of the syllabus?
No, ma'am. Actually, I was not able to clear 100% of syllabus in any of the topics per se. But yes, I think I was pretty comfortable with especially the descriptive writing part, because we answered a lot of questions in our mains examination also. So for descriptive writing, it was our strength. But objective is extremely difficult here, because they were asking questions like. I got nightmares while reading reading those objective part. I was not able to read those questions, like 30 minutes was there for objective section, but I was not able to completely. I thought I would left off some questions, but ultimately, so one should focus on reading the schemes in detail. Uh, if possible, go through PIB, but that is going to be a huge thing. But uh, you provide, like many institutions provide separate schemes PDF, so refer to them. Go for little details also. There is no shortcut here because they are asking such kind of questions. So ESI objective was, you need to prepare a lot. I think your efforts to outcome ratio would not be uh, that effective.
So as I can like crux out from your speech, so I can say ki okay, if in ESI you like trusted more toward the descriptive part rather
Yes,
than
ma'am.
the objective
Objective.
part, and in objective it was dominated by schemes,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Schemes.
Okay, so
Schemes and
if
reports also. Some
yeah, yeah,
international reports.
basically current affair if we are
Yes,
talking
ma'am.
about,
Mm.
and current affair again they were like recent current affair or they were like current affair from 6 months, 7 months, 8 months ago.
They were giving like from anywhere. Like, so I prepared for 3 months, but I was not able to answer all of those. I mean, my attempt was not that good.
All right, all right. So in objective, you were not that much satisfied.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So since you have talked about, you have talked about the note making. So you said ki you have prepared notes for the quotes that you had. You have made notes about the current affairs that you have. So how important do you think is note making for phase one and phase two?
For phase one, phase two, it is extremely important, ma'am, because in phase one we have lot of things because they can ask questions from anywhere. But whenever I refer to a governor's speech or whenever I refer to anything related to RBI, I used to make notes out of it, like very brief notes, not much, but around 2 to 3 lines. the important information regarding it. So here in phase two, for each and every topic, for example, in economic and social issues, I have referred to the previous 2 years descriptive questions that the RBI asked. So I picked up some themes from them, and so I thought, okay, whenever there is a question about women, so I should incorporate these kind of data here, these kind of quotes here. So I prepared notes for all those sections, like around 10 to 15 topics I picked for ESI, and around 10 topics for finance and management. So I prepared notes, quotes, data. So that is extremely important, and I revised those notes 2 days prior to the examination, and I decided that if a question comes on those aspects, I'm going to incorporate those quotes even by creating context. So
Mhm.
that was clear to me, and I have successfully able to answer all those questions. But one must thing is that you should not leave any questions unanswered, or so follow the intro, body, conclusion part and address each and every part of a question. Don't focus much upon the word limit of it, but try to answer the question completely.
Right. So you have said ki note making helped you a lot with the lot. You were able to quickly also write the things, revise the things. It helped you in every way. And you also talked about the word limits. So one should not worry much about the word limit. Rather, he or she should focus. All the questions are attempted and they are attempted well. So when we are talking about the people who are in habit of writing, such as somebody preparing for UPSC, might be some other examination where the interface is not the computer one, right? So they also struggle with the typing speed because typing is a new component for them. They are preparing, but typing is new. So how much do you think the typing speed matters?
Here, ma'am, since the interface is not that user friendly and editing is extremely difficult here, because for that, instead of typing speed, focus on making minimal mistakes, because you're typing on a mechanical keyboard. Even in your home also, try to practice on a mechanical keyboard instead of the ones that have the instead on laptops, because because ultimately in the exam, that is going to be a huge factor. um, m- as far as possible, make minimal mistakes, because editing on the examination hall, it will frustrate you. First of all, you will not be able to write the content that you wanted to write. So as far as possible, in those 20, at least in those 20 days between phase one and phase two, try to practice every day. Instead of reading, I would suggest you to practice a lot, because whatever you have in your mind, but if you're not able to express on the screen, then it is waste of time.
Okay, so that's very well said. Ki rather than concerning yourself with the word limit, rather than concerning yourself with the word speed, how typing speed, one should focus on making minimum mistake. If your mistakes are left less, of course, you will be wasting less time reading the
Yes,
question
ma'am.
again, editing that question again. Then, of course, it also cause the frustration. So that
Yes,
will
ma'am.
be saved to you also. And for that, he also suggested ki one should try to type daily rather than just reading. Try to type it, right? So that is, I think, very good. So when we are talking about the phase 2, it was done. Then
Ma'am,
comes
one more thing is that before answering in the descriptive writing, before answering the question, before typing the question, try to take 3 to 4 minutes and write a brief answer on your sheet of paper, like what this is going to be the introduction, this is going to be the conclusion, and these are the parts that we are going to address. Like to write 2 to 3 points there, then start typing. Because once you start typing, you will stop thinking about it. Then you will forget the point that that you wanted to put in. So first prepare your answer on a sheet of paper, then type it.
right, I think that's a great tip again, right? So when we are talking about phase 2, so
Okay.
after phase 2, were you confident, or was it same like phase 1 ki okay, I'm confident, I'll be able to do, and you start practicing for interview, or was there some gap?
No, ma'am. I took the gap because I was not that confident, but I was confident, but not that confident. Because especially I made some blunders in the objective section. That was bothering me a lot. After that, I took a break around 1 week to I think 2 week break. Then I realized that okay, I think I've done pretty well. So if I get selected, I should be preparing for the interview. So I started preparation after 2 weeks
Hmm.
from the phase two examination.
Right. So I think again very he have given us very good insight. People, what they do when they are not confident, they stop preparing, even when we are
Yes,
talking
ma'am.
about after phase 1 or after phase 2. But one should be hopeful, I think,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So you might take some break, but let that break be break, not entire holiday.
Yes.
Right? So take some break as he had done. So when we are coming about the interview, so since
Mhm.
you had the gap year, right? So first of all, it must have caused the a lot of anxiety also, because UPSC interview you have given and the result were not positive. Then you have another interview coming. So you of course had that in mind ki, okay, I have to make minimum to no mistake. So how
Yes,
did you
ma'am.
deal with that anxiety first?
Ma'am, actually, I was prepared to answer. Like, I was taking risk. I know that. In the interview also, if they ask, then I was able to. I prepared that I should be able to justify it, because they also know that writing this kind of examination is not that easy, and competing with these kind of these many people is requires someone to put all their efforts. So they will also understand it, but they will see whether you are able to justify your gap years or not. It is not going to be a big problem if you have a gap year. There are people who have gap years of like 5 to 6 years. They have also been selected in the past. So that should not bother you. But if they ask you, you should be able to justify it why you took the break. Even
So
if
you,
you even
yes,
if you
yes.
just say that I'm preparing for the exam, they will understand. That's not going to be a issue.
And you practice well for those questions ki, okay, this
Yes,
can be
ma'am.
expected question and I'm prepared to answer that.
Yes, yes.
And that also help you to deal with the anxiety that, okay, I'm going to face the interview panel.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, try to write down all those uncomfortable questions that you are expecting and try to think upon it, because every question has an answer. So just try to find your own answer. That's it. And just tell them. They will understand that they are they have seen so many people like you. So they don't judge you just because you have a gap year.
Right. So Arvind had very beautifully told us how to like also prepare for uncomfortable question and how to justify if you have gap year or if you're facing anxiety. He also told how he prepared with his friend earlier, which helped a great deal while preparing for the interview. So that was great, I think. So if I summarize your whole journey, so I,
Mhm.
from my side, must say कि you had limited time, right? You have a lot of struggle, challenges you have to face. You are coming from a entirely different background, commerce background you didn't have, but you prepared well for this examination. And
Yes, ma'am.
on that, I like to congratulate you again. Right now, coming back to the journey again. So when we are talking about ourselves, we do know our parents. Since you were preparing for, since you were in job first, then you start preparing for UPSC. You went till the interview phase, then you were preparing for RBI. At that time our parents, they don't know what kind of difficulty we are facing or what transition we are going through. For them it is like कि, okay, our son or daughter are preparing for the examination, either they are getting successful or they are not getting successful, right? So did you have any pep talk with your parents कि, okay, I'm doing this at this time, I'm aiming for this, I was failed at that time, now I'm doing this? So was there any serious talk with parents about your future?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, it always happens like every day. It was not a serious talk, but I inform them whatever the decisions I make, and they always support me throughout my journey. Even after the civil services results also, I was very devastated. And my parents, they are the ones that boosted me. Like, okay, it's okay. Only 950 people are getting selected, so don't worry. You will get it another time. Look, they are the ones who supported me, because that support system is extremely necessary, especially when we go for competitive examinations, because they need because they should also be able to understand that these are not easy, and failure is often failure is very failure is at every step. So whenever I take a decision, I told them that this is what I'm going to do, and this is what those discussions usually happen. And my brother was there. He was supporting me through all this. So he knows things like he know how difficult it is, and he used to explain to my parents. So don't worry, he will be able to clear it. He has come this far. So he was he was like the uh, best motivator for me as well. So
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 so your parents were extremely supporting, but
support,
your
yes,
actual, I would say, backbone that was not in front
yes, ma'am.
but was supporting you from the shade was your brother.
Yes.
Always there for you, not only like convincing you but also your parents by on your
Parents also.
behalf ki he is doing something great, let him be. So I think that support system, as you have said, is really important, not only just for the journey. There are some times where we get exhausted, and it is great to hear your story, and I think you are going to be a great motivation for thousands of the aspirants who are preparing for the same journey, and they'll be taking a lot of note from your journey. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
So again, since you were also connected with us, right? You are also the part of EduTap family. I'd like to ask you, who was your favorite teacher in EduTap, who helped you to prepare a lot for RBI?
Ma'am, I want to name three people, ma'am, from EduTap because I was watching those three people every day in those 70 days. First is Anchit sir for management studies, and Vishnu Dutt sir for those phase one preparation, and Kritika ma'am videos also. Those three people I was watching every day. I didn't know their names back then, but I wanted to convey my thanks to them. So
Okay. From their side, I like to congratulate you again and like to also welcome you, appreciate your effort. And it was great talking to you. At last, I like to say one tip or one lesson that you can share with all the future aspirants, right? How they may be related to the start of the journey, may be related to mistake, but one lesson that you want to share with us all.
ma'am, if anybody can clear this exam. Like it was not like you should have a good background or you should have a lot of time. So not like that. If you want to, if you have decided that you are giving this examination, put your full efforts to it. Whatever the weak areas, just work upon them. It ultimately doesn't matter which background you are coming from or how much amount of time you have. You just focus on your weaknesses and just be at it. That's you will be able to clear the exam. So
Right. So I think
have that positive mindset. That's all.
okay, I think that is a great lesson that no matter what obstacle that you have, you are coming from some unknown background, let's say non-finance background, something like that, but you will have to like focus on yourself, be positive about it, and learn where your weakness lies and work on them. If you manage to do that, other thing does not matter that much. Only your effort matters, right? I think that's a very beautiful lesson, Arvind, and I like to thank you again for coming here, interacting with us, sharing such great lessons with us and giving us such useful tips. And I like to congratulate you again on the success that
Thank
you
you,
have
ma'am.
made. So again, if we have to say it, it's like past aspirants and today's officer, and if Arvind can do it, you all can do it. Just take the lessons that the things that we have discussed. If you have further doubt, feel free to ask us, right? And thank you so much, Arvind, and all the
Thank
best
you, ma'am. Thank
for
you
your
very much.
future in RBI. Right. I hope you will grow a lot in this organization and you will do great in future.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome, Arvind.